Welcome, guys, to the Meet Damien live stream. I am Damien, and today's live stream we'll talk about the price of Bitcoin, like we normally do. We'll talk about price of oil, because looks like $100 a barrel oil is here to stay, as far as I'm seeing on the charts right now. And we'll see where it could go next, whether it's up or down. We'll try to get an idea. But we'll first get started by looking at the price of Bitcoin to figure out where Bitcoin's going to go next, whether that's up or down, according to the charts here. So let's get started here. Let's see what we can do here with the price of Bitcoin. We're going to look at the long-term time frames, starting off first there, and then we'll get into the short-term time frames. I see my buddy DZ's in the chat here for YouTube. If you let me know how the volume is. I don't know if the music is a little bit too loud, but let me know if it is too loud and I can turn it down a little bit on my end here. But I figured we listen to some music because, you know, this stuff can be a little bit dry, and I get it. But I also like to, you know, entertain you guys as best as I can while educating you guys as best as I can on the charts here. So anyways, let's get to it. We'll look at the price of Bitcoin, currently trading at $67,390 here, up 2% today. And what has Bitcoin done since the last time we talked about Bitcoin? Well, the last time we talked about Bitcoin was on Friday, and Bitcoin did have a nasty day there. It got down to like $65,500 here on Coinbase Exchange, roughly. And then looks like here on Sunday we came actually down below 65,000. We got down to 64,938, and this is kind of similar to the lows here that we saw back here on Sunday, March 8th, where Bitcoin got down to 65,600. We actually made a lower low, which is leading us to wonder if Bitcoin is actually going to go down to lower prices here, because we're now starting the beginning of a downtrend, because we had a high here at 76K March 17th, made a low, then we made a lower high here on March 25th, getting up to like 72K, and then we made a lower low compared to lows back here in March 9th, March 8th. So Bitcoin looks like it's starting a downtrend, and that's why I'm starting to see some people in the chat here on TikTok saying short Bitcoin, short Bitcoin. You know, obviously, you know, looking back at history here, it would have been better to try to short at 72K or even 76K. But would I enter a short right now? I think last time I left off with you guys, I said I was gonna long Bitcoin at 65K, just playing off the idea that, you know, we could bounce off of the 65K area, maybe make a same low, maybe a possible double bottom. As far as like trying to short Bitcoin, I might wait a little bit higher. I think Bitcoin could still climb up a little bit higher, and then you can get a better entry on your short. We have a rising channel here. This blue parallel channel that is slanting upward was a channel that Bitcoin was kind of starting to stay in, that I charted here on the charts as a possibility for us to go up to higher prices here on Bitcoin. However, we broke through the channel here to the downside. Looks like that started last Friday, last time I was with you guys here. And, you know, what I could possibly see as a possibility here is Bitcoin comes up to this, the bottom of this channel, gets rejected. Looks like, you know, the bottom of this channel is somewhere between like 68,700 to like $69,000. We also got a 21 EMA above us at 70K. So I know I'm giving you guys a bunch of numbers here. But I did see in the, you know, on my Discord chat that some guy was thinking about shorting Bitcoin. I think he also was saying like 70K as a possibility. 70K I think could be a possibility where we could make a lower high compared to what we did here at 72K last Wednesday. And then Bitcoin could, you know, get rejected off of this 21 EMA, which Bitcoin usually stays next to it. You know, the 21 EMA usually stays close to the price unless Bitcoin just drops like a rock. Then you'll see the 21 EMA also drop like a rock as well, trying to play catch up to the price. As you saw, you know, back here in late January and early February, you know, when Bitcoin did drop like a rock, okay, that's this white line, this 21 EMA, try to play catch up until Bitcoin was able to, you know, steady as it goes here at 63K. And then, you know, the 21 EMA was able to, you know, catch up to the price. And then the 21 EMA was kind of acting as support, which was giving us some bullish vibes here. However, we are now starting to lose the 21 EMA one more time. And I think if we get back up to the 21 EMA, we could get rejected. And that might be a good area to enter a short. So I would actually add, you know, if you guys don't have this on your chart here, the 21 exponential moving average, 21 EMA on the daily time frame here. Add that to your chart, see where that lies. Right now it's at $70,000. I think that could be a better area to short Bitcoin than 67K. But, you know, there's no guarantee that we're actually going to go up to 70K. So, you know, maybe we do, you know, start dropping like a rock right now. But I think it'd be more prudent and safer for your short entry to try to short at 70K if we do get there. So I think 70K would be the area to try to short. And then, you know, if you guys are already in your longs, if you took the long on Friday at 65K like I tried, I think I actually got in a little bit higher. I didn't get at 65K. I got like maybe like 66K. But if you took the long at 66K here, you could try to ride this up to like 68,500 or 69 or 70K and try to take profit at that area. Now, let's get into the 1 hour time frame. You'll see what I'm looking at right now. This is like my day trading time frame for my day traders out there. I know I got some day traders in the chat and on this stream here. But my day trader guys, you know, this is where I like to start off on the day trading, is the 1 hour time frame. And what I'm seeing here is there is a 200 moving average right here above us at 68,500. I'm actually looking for that. I want to see how Bitcoin handles itself when it gets up to that red line, because that could be a problem. And I think a lot of traders all throughout the world here are watching the 1 hour time frame, trying to see how Bitcoin handles itself at 68,500. And that would be the area where I would try to enter a short. I'm not really interested in entering a short right now, okay? You know, maybe I could try to look at the momentum indicators to see if there's anything building on the momentum, but I think Bitcoin could still climb up to 68,500. You know, get up to like where this, you know, bottom of this parallel channel I already showed you here. This is the blue area right here. We could get up there and then roll over on Bitcoin to lower prices. So that's where I would try to enter short. I'm not really going to rush into it. I think we can still wait to try and go to higher prices and then try to short Bitcoin, if that's what you want to do here. Let's look at the momentum indicators to see if there is momentum that's going to bring us to the downside. And okay, this is one of the momentum indicators I like to use. This is the MEXC indicator here, the moving average convergence divergence indicator here. And the moving average convergence divergence indicator, the MEXC, you know, to say it short, the MEXC is hinting that we actually could start to see Bitcoin roll over actually right now, believe it or not. We seen that the buying pressure, the green is the buying pressure. That area is the buying pressure is starting to descend down to lower areas here. And if it continues this trend, we'll get a MACD flip to the downside where you'll start to see red like you saw, here on Sunday afternoon. Maybe you might see a little bit more of that. That was kind of like weak. This was like kind of like weak sauce. This didn't really bring the price of Bitcoin down too much here. But I'll tell you what, if we see red like this here, like we saw on Friday, you'll start to see Bitcoin definitely drop down low prices. So there's actually kind of like a not a green light to short, but there's like a yellow light. There's like a yellow light saying that, caution, we could go down to lower prices here if the trend continues. You're also getting the blue line here. It's starting to curve down on the 1 hour time frame. If it continues this downtrend, the blue line will cross the orange line to the downside, and you'll get a MACD, what they call a MACD crossover to the downside, and that could send the price of Bitcoin down. Last time you got a MACD crossover to the downside, you can see like right here, when that blue line crosses the orange line to the downside, you start seeing selling pressure showing up. So maybe we might see selling pressure later on this afternoon for Bitcoin. I'm not sure what's going to cause the catalyst for that. Maybe we get some bad news about what's going on in the Middle East, and that causes the price of Bitcoin to drop down, because we've seen that happen over the last few weeks since the battle and the war started in the Middle East. So that might actually be the reason why we actually drop down to lower prices here. Okay. However, just be careful. Buying pressure could die down, right? Like you saw right here on Saturday, and then it starts increasing again. Like there's no guarantee that you're gonna see momentum go to the downside and buying pressure die down and turning into selling pressure. It's just an idea. It's something to be on the lookout for, to be on the watch out for. But that's why we don't just use one indicator here. We try to use some other indicators to get ideas like where price of Bitcoin could go. And I am going to try to answer your question here, guys. I'm just finishing up my analysis here on Bitcoin before we start looking at other coins and stocks and commodities to look at. Let's just look at the this is right here, the DeluxeAlgo indicator that I use. That shows you money flow, and it shows you momentum and giving you the buy and sell dots here. Right now in the 1 hour time frame, we do see that there is money flow is in the green. You got that green shade of area here. However, money flow is starting to curve down on the 1 hour time frame, which makes sense because we saw the MACD also curving down and trending down. So it looks like money is starting to leave Bitcoin right now as I speak. And if this continues on, you'll see money flow go into red like we saw back here on Saturday and Friday. And you'll see money flow negative, and you'll see Bitcoin go down to low prices if that's the case. Also, what I'm seeing here on the 1 hour time frame, the day trading time frame here, is that we did get a red sell dot saying that you should have sold your Bitcoin earlier this morning around 9 a.m. Eastern time. And you can see momentum, this gray stuff. Momentum is going to the downside. So it looks like Bitcoin does want to go down. So my guy here on TikTok that was saying short Bitcoin, he might be right about that. He might actually have looked at the charts already and seen the things that I've seen. And I would have to kind of agree with him that Bitcoin looks like it does want to go down this afternoon. So you could see lower prices here on Bitcoin. We'll check Bitcoin again later on in the live stream to see where it's at. But right now it's at 67,300. I did see it at 67,400 just a few minutes ago. So it looks like we are trying to go down here to lower prices here on Bitcoin. All right, let's get back into the chat here to see what you guys have to say. I'm going to catch up on my TikTok, and I know DZ on YouTube did say he did put in a request. We'll take a look at your request here, but let me catch up on the chat here. I did a lot of talking. I didn't really get a chance to read your comments here, guys. But yeah, PBST was saying short Bitcoin. So I think PBS might be right about that. We see Laureen's in the chat. Good to see you, Laureen. Thank you for liking the live. Guys, don't forget to smash that like button if you haven't done so already. Try to get the algorithm fired up so we can get some more people to show up in the live stream here. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. You guys, doesn't cost you anything. Free to do. All you gotta do is double tap your screen here on TikTok to send me a like here. I appreciate that. And if you guys are new to the Meet Damien live stream and you're enjoying, the education, the entertainment, and just the live stream in general, don't forget to follow me here on TikTok. What you gotta do is click the top left picture with me in the red shirt. I'm wearing that red shirt right now. You got the actual Meet Damien right here. So yeah, go ahead and follow me, because there are some people pretending to be me here. Some bots and whatnot trying to pretend to be me, and you want to make sure you got the right Meet Damien. You got the right Meet Damien right here. Make sure you're following me here if you haven't done so already. Let's see. Coach Strivek says, when are you looking for a long on Bitcoin? I was looking for a long on Bitcoin a few days ago. I'm not sure if it makes sense to enter a fresh long right now on Bitcoin from what I'm seeing, especially on the 1 hour chart here. And what I saw on the momentum indicators here, it looks like you know, long in Bitcoin, not a good idea right now. But if you're already in the long and you're moving your stop loss, you know, to higher and higher levels here, I think, you know, if Bitcoin just does an Uno reverse and for some reason climbs up to like 68,500, I think that could be a good area to take profit on your long. I see some problems there. Just using the moving averages here. And then we did say 70K makes sense because, you know, going back to the daily time frame and just using moving averages here, there is a 21 EMA above us at 70K. Now, I didn't actually look at the VRVP indicator, but let's just take a look at that real quick here. And then I'll move on to looking at the VVV for DZ here, okay? But here on the VRVP indicator here, this is your visual range volume profile indicator. You can see this green and red is where all the people were buying and selling Bitcoin, and we're just looking at data going all the way back to you know, January of earlier this year. And it's showing that there's a point of control of POC, this blue line. I know I got blue lines here for the parallel channel, but this blue line, if you can see it here, is sitting at about 69K. So the majority of people have bought and sold Bitcoin at 69K. That might actually be where we actually get rejected based on the real world data coming from the visual range volume profile. We could actually not, we might not make it to 70K. We might actually get rejected at 69K, okay? But if we make it past 69K, I mean, there is still volume here at 70K, and there's also that 21 EMA. So, you know, if you're in the long on Bitcoin and you're looking for take profit areas, I think, you know, I said 68,500 because that's where the 1 hour 200 moving average was at. But then also 69K makes sense because of the point of control. And then 70K also makes sense to take profit. That's where your 21 EMA is on the daily time frame here. So those are the areas I would choose to take profit if Bitcoin, for some reason, just continues climbing up. You know, there's no guarantee that we're actually going to drop down here. Okay, but if we do drop down to lower prices here, I think, you know, we could revisit 65K, see if that holds up. But if 65K doesn't hold up like it did yesterday, for the most part, then there is, you know, a value area low below us at 63K. Bitcoin has gotten support from 63K. You've seen that here on February 24th, and then also here on February 28th, where when we do go down to 63K, we don't stay there for too long. We actually close above it. We never actually close a daily candle at 63K. So I think 63K is a better area to try and take a long on Bitcoin right now. To be honest with you guys, if you're not in a trade on Bitcoin, I would just wait, right? One of two things, right? Either we're going to climb up to like 69K or 70K and try to look for a short on Bitcoin, or we're going to drop down to lower prices and maybe 65K makes sense to try to long Bitcoin, or 63K, which is that red number right here, and this value area low, this white line. 63K actually makes a better entry for a long, better than 65K, okay? Where you could try to maybe Bitcoin tries one more time to get a bounce off the value area low, and maybe we come back up to like 67K or 70K one more time, and then we might, you know, finally roll over and drop down to low prices on Bitcoin. And if we do, there is an area that I already highlighted at 52K, that red line right there. And then, you know, the reason why I highlighted 52K is because, you know, and I've said this on my live streams, but I'll say it again because I know we got some new people here. 52K is where we were trading at sideways here on February 2024. Around that month of 2024, we had some sideways trading action going on there. And that's going to be where I think we could take a break from dropping down like a rock on Bitcoin. And we might get an initial bounce off of 52K. But yeah, that's the area for the people who are in it for shorting and looking for a swing trade short on Bitcoin. 52K is where I would try to definitely take profit because, you know, you can't be too greedy on your short. Anyways, let's get back in the chat here. And I got you, DZ. I'm gonna be on your request here. We just finished up the analysis there on Bitcoin. Let's see. Lorraine says must be very powerful when you're trying to. Okay. Yep. I'm just reading comments here on TikTok, and then let's see. Coach says, isn't weekly looking insanely good if it holds support the next 2 weeks? I haven't looked at the weekly. What indicator on the weekly are you looking for on Bitcoin? are you getting optimistic about Bitcoin? Like, what's the reason why you optimistic on Bitcoin? I'm just curious. I haven't actually looked at the weekly indicator. Journey Fan says, let's look at USO. All right, so we will take a look at USO, which is, I believe that's an ETF for oil. Thank you. We are going to look at oil because I know people are interested in looking at the price of oil. I'm also interested in looking at the price of oil. I actually longed oil yesterday. And I've also been in a long on oil from last week as well. Let's see. So yeah, we got to look at VPV as well for DZ. And it looks like we got USO as a request here. D2 Miami says Hyper. Okay, we'll take a look at Hyper after we look at oil. Okay, I got you there. Hyper. And let's see, anything else? Anything else? Lorraine says, "What's the story with oil now?" I guess I mean we'll get to the story on oil, but it's not looking too good with you know, the United States bringing more troops into the Middle East and a possible ground invasion. I think that's going to be causing the next spike up in oil prices here. Okay, if they start invading Iran, because that means that obviously if they're invading Iran, there's not going to be a ceasefire. There's not going to be a surrender anytime soon. They're probably not going to be going to the negotiating table if you know, Iran's getting invaded by United States and Israel. So so that would be bad for the markets. That'd be bad for the stock market and crypto, and it would probably only be good for oil and maybe possibly gold if that does happen. So anyways, let's move on to looking at VVV for the first request of the day from DZ. Thank you for coming in and putting in that request, DZ. All right, and I just want to check, double check the volume. I did turn the mic on, right? Okay, I did. All right, good. VVV. Let me get a sip of water here real quick. VVV. Currently trading at $6.50, up 8% today. Actually having a pretty good day here. I'm going to turn the volume down a little bit on my end here so I can hear myself. All right. VVV trading at $6.50, up 8%, and we did look at VVV because I know DZ has asked for this last week when I was doing my live streams, and like I said, you know, with VVV, we're just consolidating here on VVV, doing a bullish consolidation. I think we're still respecting the symmetrical triangle that we're in right now, still making higher lows, however, still making low highs here, and it's just, I mean, this is going to be hard to trade unless you're really, you know, on the charts all day, every day on VVV, and you might be looking at the 1 hour time frame or the 15-minute time frame to day trade this. You can still trade this, but just, you know, what I would do if I was trying to trade this is I would be looking to short or take profit when we get to the top of this symmetrical triangle, and then when we come back down to lower prices here, I take profit on the short and then look for a long, probably at like $5.98 or $6, somewhere around there. See if we can get a bounce again. And then, you know, if we come back up to the top of the symmetrical triangle again, I would look for another short, probably at like 670. Okay, about 20 cents above. So, you know, right now, I mean, would you short right now? I mean, if you're anxious, but I think you could try to wait until we get up to like 670, 680, 690, $7 here to try and look for a short on Venice token here on VVV. And then, like, again, you know, try to play the long. But here, it's going to get tough because if we keep doing this ping-pong and back and forth, eventually we have to get some resolution. We're either going to drop like a rock, okay, which I don't think that would happen because you came into this, you know, from the bottom already, and then you entered into this bullish consolidation or this potential bull flag here. I don't think we're going to drop like a rock, but we could, especially if Bitcoin drops like a rock down to 50K. Or if something coin-specific to Venice causes, you know, bad news to drop the price here, I would, you know, lean towards this actually breaking out to the upside, which, you know, crazy enough, we have been, you know, bullish here. It looks like since December of last year, we've been, you know, obviously we've had our ups and downs here, but this is looking a lot better than trying to, you know, long Bitcoin or long Ethereum or Solana, because this asset is going up and to the right, where the other cryptocurrencies are going down into the right, okay? If we continue to go up and to the right, and if this is a bull flag, then I think the bigger measure move, which I think would be beneficial to the swing traders, And if you're still in a long on a day trade here, you know, it could play out in your favor. But you know, we do got to measure move. Like if this is a bull flag here for my pattern trader guys out there, you know, this is still useful in trading as far as like trend analysis. If we were to continue the trend up to the right, up and to the right here on Venice token here, the measure move out of this bull flag, if we would just break out, you know, right now here at like 650, 660, it's showing that the measure move is saying that we could get up to like $11.40 here, that blue number there for Venice token. So that is your bullish move. If we get a bull flag to the upside and we break out to the upside on VVV, this thing possibly could double in price from where it is right now, or close to double. It might not be an exact double, but you're gonna see some money to be made here on Venice token. However, if we do drop down, you know, and this does break down to the downside, then you know we do have moving averages below you that could give you an idea as like where we could get some support. And right now we got the 50-day moving average, this green line, sitting at $3.68, which is confluent to like where you were trading at sideways here back here in like February, middle of February. I think that $3.60 area, $3.70 area is an area where I would be trying to take profit on the short if you're shorting this, or try to, you know, entertain the idea of maybe possibly going for a long on the 50-day moving average. I think, you know, if we were to drop, I'll just show you, like if we were to drop right now to that 50-day moving average, we could get a reaction off this green line and initially do another pump up. Maybe we come back to $5, maybe make a lower high, and then come back down again to the green line one more time, see if it's going to act as support. But like if we do something like that, you know, look what I kind of drew right now. If we did do something like this, then this could possibly be like, you know, considered for my pattern traders out there, for the people who like to look at patterns, this could possibly be a left shoulder, a head, and then a right shoulder, and then we could see, you know, VVV go down to lower prices even further, you know, maybe later on in the summer here, going into later on this year. Okay, so that's just an idea. Obviously, you know, anything can happen. We could break out, we go to higher prices, but you know, just keep this in mind that if we do something like this and we are bearish on VVV, yeah, you can drop down the 50-day moving average, get a bounce. Maybe the bounce is not good enough. We come back, try the 50-day moving average, and then maybe we break through the 50-day moving average and go to lower prices here. And this ends up being a left shoulder, head shoulder, you know, a head and shoulder pattern here on VVV. A left shoulder, head, and a right shoulder here. Okay, so something to think about, you know, with your trading, your swing trading there. We got Sorrel Mill Glenn is asking about Ondo. Okay, let me go ahead and write that down. We do have a few requests before you. We gotta look at USO, which is oil specific, and then we gotta look at Hyper, and then I got you on Ondo after that. Okay, but let me also double check, make sure I didn't miss anybody else's request. Oh, I think that's it for now. Appreciate that, guys. Don't forget to smash that like button, especially if you're enjoying the live stream here and my analysis and, you know, the music in the background, trying to keep you guys entertained and educated as best as I can here. Appreciate that. Thank you for liking the live there. Appreciate that, guys. Coach Styrev says, also saw that 52K Bitcoin is a possibility. Yeah, it is. It is a possibility for Bitcoin to go to 52K. I think as the next area to look out for us, you know, day traders and chartists out there. That's what we're looking for on Bitcoin if you do break 60K to the downside. All right. Moving on to USO. Let me go ahead and type that in. USO, which is a oil ETF for those who don't know. This is the United States Oil Fund. Trades on the New York Stock Exchange. So for my stock traders out there, the people who trade stocks, this is a way to play the price of oil if you're in the stock market. And you can see that USO, you know, United States Oil, right, is trading at $128.30, and it's up $4 today. And it's up 3.3%, okay? Looks like we did it up as high as $129 earlier today. We did go as low as $126. 52-week range is as, you know, we did see, you know, $60 over the past year. So this thing has doubled in price over the past 52 weeks here, the past year. And we hit the highs for the year, the 52-week high, we hit that today. So, I mean, this is a way to make some money here, or money has been made here on USO, but are we going to continue going up to higher prices? Well, you know, to answer that question, if oil continues to go up to higher prices, then I expect this thing to continue to go up to higher prices. That's pretty obvious. I don't know if I have to say that. You know, it's pretty obvious here. But let's just try to get some history here as the USO. Has this been a good way to make money in the past here? Before I get into the recent chart data, we have seen. Wow, looks like USO was at higher prices here back in 2014. I think we did see a spike in oil prices because that was actually the beginning of a war in Ukraine. When Ukraine first got invaded by Russia, that was, I think, in 2014. So I think, yeah, that's one reasons why we saw USO here at like $300 here. Okay, so just giving you an idea here how this thing responds to geopolitical events and oil, and how oil prices affect this this asset here. Looks like we also got a spike here in 2018. I'm not sure what that's all about. We did get a drop in price here in March of 2020 because of the COVID crisis. Okay. Then let's see. Just looking at history here again, you can see here in 2022 when we saw Russia invade Ukraine with a large-scale invasion here. You can see that, you know, the price of USO was at lower prices here, and, you know, before the invasion, and then it spiked up after the invasion here. And I think that's because I think oil got up to like $140, maybe almost $150 a barrel. So this is definitely an ETF, a stock ETF that follows the price of oil, and you can make money with the price of oil spiking up. But can we actually do that today? Let's, you know, I'm giving you a little chart history here, guys. But let's get into what's happening right now, obviously. So right now, obviously, oil's spiking because of what's going on in the Middle East between the United States, Israel, and Iran. And yeah, this thing is going up and to the right for sure. You're above the 21 EMA, which means you're very bullish, extremely bullish. If we were to, I don't know, get a ceasefire, or Iran surrenders for whatever reason, and they just stop fighting in the Middle East, then, you know, I think we could drop down to the 21 EMA initially. That 21 EMA for USO is at $111. That is an area where we could drop down. Now, I don't know what, like I said, I don't know what the catalyst would be, but I think the catalyst would be, like, you know, if there's a pause on fighting, if Donald Trump takes it easy and decides to not attack Iran, and Iran's, you know, takes a break and isn't attacking back, then I think 21 EMA is going to be where we come down initially. We'll probably see what happens afterwards, like if those fighting resume and then we go up to higher prices here on USO. But if fighting was to stop and stop for good, then we could, you know, have a nasty drop where this thing could come down to the 50-day moving average sitting at $80. All right. So, you know, if fighting stops and oil drops down to lower prices, then, you know, the 50-day moving average, which is kind of close to the other moving averages as well, you got the 100 and 200 there. There is support at like 78, 77, and 80. Okay. But now I'm going to draw a Fibonacci here to figure out, you know, I mean, if things get really bad in the Middle East, or even if they don't get really bad, but if they just continue to be bad, you know, where could we see USO go? Well, I just drew a Fibonacci there for you. I did top here at $129, and I put the bottom here at $74, which is, I think, is what we were trading at back here on the beginning of February, before the war in the Middle East even started. And targets to the upside, if we were to continue going up to high prices here for oil and USO here, you got a 1272 Fibonacci, which could get hit at $144. That would be your next upside price target for USO. And then another target to be looking out for in the future here is the 1618 Fib extension to the upside, and that's saying that we could see $163 here for USO. Okay, so that is targets for the upside as of now. 144 and then 163 is where I can see this thing going next. And then, who knows, if things get really bad and we see like maybe $200 a barrel oil, then maybe USO actually climbs up to the 2618, and you might see also for USO, you might see $218 per share here on the United States oil. So there you go. Those are targets, the upside. I gave you downside targets, the 21 EMA. And look, the 21 EMA is kind of confluent right now with the golden pocket. So if we do drop down for whatever reason, looks like 108, 110 is where that golden pocket is, and that's sitting right next to the 21 EMA at 111. So I think 111 to the downside, 144 to the upside for USO. Okay. All right, getting back into the comments here in the live chat. Larb says Bitcoin. Yep, we will look at Bitcoin again. Thank you for letting me know that you want to look at Bitcoin again. We'll try to look at Bitcoin on the smaller time frames since we already looked at it at larger time frames. Actually, no, I gotta look at the weekly chart because someone did say, you know, Bitcoin looks decent to them on the weekly time frame. So we'll take a look at the Bitcoin on the weekly, and then we'll try to zoom in to like the 1 hour chart again on Bitcoin. But we're gonna first look at Hyper and then Ondo, and then we'll look at Bitcoin again. We have a guy here that says that Bitcoin will not hit below $59,000. Everyone knows Bitcoin is bearish. Any other, I don't know. I'm trying to read your comment here. It didn't make sense, but you said Bitcoin will not go below 59K. I mean, there's no guarantee that that's gonna happen, but there is a possibility that it could go below 59K. That's what I could say. Don't try to you know, guarantee what's going to happen in the future. None of us know what's going to happen in the future for Bitcoin and crypto, but I know from what I've seen on the charts with Bitcoin that 59K or lower is a possibility. Okay, and a probability that it could go down there. Let's see. DZ in the YouTube chat says you think Ethereum is done? Didn't do anything last couple of years. Going to be new coins and new hype. I mean, yeah, you know, I feel like Solana stole some of the thunder and some of the other utility coins like SUI and AVAX. I think you know, money got split up on the old coins there and the utility coins, and I think yeah, Solana is cheaper and faster to use than Ethereum, and AVAX is also cheaper and faster, and SUI is also cheaper and faster to use than Ethereum. So Ethereum's got some competition. However, Ethereum does have one of the first mover advantages for the DeFi and decentralized finance, and also, you know, what was I gonna say? One of the first places where people got started, you know, in crypto was in Ethereum. So I think Ethereum will be around for that reason. But yeah, there is competition for Ethereum that's kind of taken the thunder away from it. DZ says, God bless you with some Latinas on my trip to South America. I'm actually going to, I think they call it Central America. I'm going to go to Costa Rica this Wednesday, so that's going to be a travel day for me. But yeah, thank you for the blessings there. Looking forward to it, and we'll see how the streams go. I'm gonna try to do 2 streams a day if I can, if I have the energy for it. We'll try to do an early stream like I'm doing right now, and then we'll try to do an evening stream as well when I'm down in Costa Rica later on this week. All right, looking at some other cryptos here. We are gonna look at Hyper, and then we'll take a look at Ondo and then Bitcoin. So we got Hyper, which I believe is Hyper USDT. Hype USDT. It looks like I can find it here on MEXC. Okay, let me get some water here real quick. We are looking at the price of Hyper Liquid, currently trading at $37.96. Up slightly today. Hyper also looks like it's kind of bullishly consolidating, kind of like we saw with VVV. This could possibly be like a bull flag for the pattern traders out there. I have looked at Hyperliquid in the past here, and I drew a Fibonacci from, like, you know, where we had, you know, top of this Fibonacci was at $38.39 is where we were at for the highs back on February 3rd, and I took this all the way down to the lows at $20.59. So this is giving me the Fibonacci to look for. Okay, I draw my Fibonacci from top to bottom because I do want to get like possible Fibonacci extensions to the Fibonacci extension targets to the upside, and this was showing that we could hit the 1272 at $43.23. You know, when I drew this Fibonacci, and I think we already did that. Look at that, right? These Fibonacci extensions are no joke here. Okay, you can actually play these targets here to the upside, because it looks like we got up to like $43.77 on March 18th. That was your 1272. That was your chance to take profit. You know, these Fibonacci's, they're pretty useful, and it's nice to see when the technical analysis, the TA, actually plays out the way that we might have been expecting in our favor. And if you were long in Hyperliquid, you know, I would have taken profit at $43. So I know somebody else did. Somebody hit the sell button here, and then we saw Hyperliquid go down. Now, if Hyperliquid is going to still be bullish here, there is a 1618 target to the upside at $49, which, you know, we'll see if it still plays out to the upside for Hyperliquid, okay? That could be the next target to the upside is $49.39 for Hyperliquid, okay? But targets to the downside, if we were to drop down, you do got moving averages. That should give you support. That's one of the reasons why I got moving averages on my charts, is to see like where could we get some support using just the moving averages here. And we got the 200-day moving average sitting at $35.02 here. I think that could be where you initially get some support. You know, so it's only about $2 away. I think that's also like a 10% move down in price here. Let me just measure that out real quick here. You know, if we were to drop from where we are right now down to that 200 moving average, it's about like a 7% move down in price. So, you know, we could see that initially for a downside target for Hyperliquid, okay? Any further downside price action, and you got the 100-day moving average sitting at 31.53, that could provide support, and that's actually right where that 618 golden pocket's at. So you got confluence between the Fibonacci and the 100-day moving average, and you might be able to get, you know, cheaper Hyperliquid at 31 bucks. And maybe that's where we actually bounce off and go up to higher prices for Hyperliquid. Okay, so there's your targets to the downside. 35 and 31.53 is where I will be looking for cheaper Hyperliquid if you're able to get that price for Hyperliquid. All right, moving on from Hyper, we will take a look at Ondo. That was another request here. And then we'll take a look at Bitcoin again, for sure. Yeah, we'll go back to looking at Bitcoin again. I think after that, we'll look at Bitcoin. We'll actually take a look at the price of oil. We looked at USO, but that's not the price of oil. That's just an ETF that tracks the price of oil for the most part. So we'll actually take a look at oil, the commodity oil, on the charts here after we look at Bitcoin. But that's also going to be after we look at Ondo here. So we're looking at Ondo right now, currently trading at 26, almost 27 cents here. 0.269 pennies is what I'm seeing here on Binance Exchange. And we're up 4.58%. And this is looking like a bear flag. Just zooming out and just seeing what we've done so far. Ondo not really doing anything special here or remarkable here. And it could possibly continue to downtrend to the downside. Especially if Bitcoin goes down to lower prices below 60K. Let's just try to get an idea. I'm going to get rid of the moving averages so I can clean things up here a little bit. Let me see. If I could also get rid of my divergence indicator here. Just give me a second to clean this up here. Alright, yeah. Alright, so just looking at this as almost like a naked chart here. You can see that we have what I would say is a potential bear flag if I measure this move out here. Okay. And, you know, I'll kind of draw out the bear flag as best as I can here to give you an idea as like what a bear flag looks like, you know, because there might be some new people here who don't even know what a bear flag is or what it looks like. So this is kind of like a bear flag, right? It's like a flag. You got a flagpole and you got a flag here. It's like an upside down flag, and that's how you know an upside down flag. And in chart and TA world and charting chartist world, this is bearish, okay? Because this is showing that if we were to continue the trend down to lower prices here on this bear flag, you just take the measure move, you put it to like where we could break down out of this bear flag. If we go lower than 25 cents, we could see a downside target here, lower for Ondo, where we could see, wow, oh my god. Is that possible? I mean, it could be possible, but I got a blue number here that says Ondo could go down to 0. Ondo's going to 0, guys! You know, just like you hear that Bitcoin guy say, Bitcoin's going to 0! Ondo could go to 0, based on this bear flag here. So that's a little scary to see. Has Ondo ever been to 0? I mean, look, I am looking at Binance here. And this is interesting. I think this Binance should actually have more data than this. April of 2025. I know Ondo's been around longer than that. I might have to look at another chart here, besides Binance. But this is saying that we could go down to 0. That's scary to see. At 26 cents, losing almost all your money in Ondo. Let me look at another chart here besides Binance. See if I can find something with more information here. Maybe I'll see if I can get it off MEXC. Yeah, MEXC should have more data here. All right, yeah. So has Ondo been lower than 26 cents here? I mean, I'm getting information here on MEXC. Ondos looks like it started trading on MEXC back here in January of 2024, and it looks like the lowest price was like 8 cents. So like I don't for Ondo to go to to 0 cents, that's crazy. But like maybe Ondo actually gets support here around like 21 cents actually. I don't know if it's gonna drop down to 8 cents. But I think 20 cents should be support for Ondo based off of previous price action here. Okay. Let's get back to what Ondo's doing right now. So there you go, guys. I gave you bearish target to the downside for Ondo. Could Ondo be bullish and actually climb up to higher prices? Well, if it does climb up to higher prices, first of all, that'd be a change in trend here, because the trend is to the downside. But if Ondo starts climbing up to higher prices, I just tossed on the moving averages here on the daily time frame. You got this green line, this 50-day moving average that could provide resistance at 31 cents. Then you got the 100-day moving average above that could provide resistance at 38 cents. And then you got the 200-day moving average that I think for sure should provide resistance at 50 cents here. Guys, I'm getting a phone call here. It might be important, so I'm gonna have to put a pause on the live stream here real quick. Hold on a second here. All right. Sorry guys about that. That was like a quick business phone call I had to take real there. I am also a landlord, and I rent out cars. So I on top of me being a streamer, I had to take that phone call. And that's why they called me twice. I was like, all right, I sent it to voicemail the first time, and then they called me back. I was like, and I never seen that number before, so I was like, all right, maybe this is one of my rental car customers trying to get a hold of me or something like that. So anyways, back to the live stream. Sorry about that, guys. I did give you targets to the upside on Ondo. Let me just double check, make sure my mic is on, that I actually turned the mic on. And that's why they called me twice. Okay, yep. All right, so I got the volume and the mic issue good. And yeah, for Ondo, I just think you just use the moving averages as your targets to the upside: 31 cents, 38 cents, and 50 cents, and then see how Ondo handles itself. I think you could get rejected off the 50-day moving average, because you actually have not ever been at the 50-day moving average, that green line there, since October of last year. So we'll see how we handle ourselves at 31 cents, and if we are gonna consolidate, maybe we can jump up to 38 cents where that 100-day moving average is at. Okay. All right, moving on from Ondo, we'll take a look at the price of Bitcoin again, and then we'll see if there's any other requests in the live chat here. But we did have I did do my analysis around Bitcoin. I think we could get rejected at 70K if Bitcoin climbs up to 70K, because that's where that 21 EMA is at, the white line right there. And that would also be a lower high compared to the 72K area that we saw here last Wednesday. And yeah, that would just continue to make us remain bearish on Bitcoin if we do see a lower high at 70K get formed here. Because it's like, all right, well, if we're making lower highs here, then what's next? We're probably gonna make lower lows, right, on Bitcoin. Bitcoin did handle itself pretty well here at 65K, which that could end up being a double bottom for Bitcoin at 65K. And let me just show you here real quick here, guys. If Bitcoin did do a double bottom, I'm going to try to show you on another chart where there's not too much, you know, chart action going on here. Okay, I got this as an idea here. And let me get rid of the moving averages here, okay, for a quick second. But if Bitcoin is making a possible double bottom at 65K, right, around that area, where could Bitcoin go if it was double bottoming at 65K? So if this is a double bottom at 65K, you just measure from like where the bottom is at $65,000 to the top in between the two bottoms, which is I think 76K, right there. You take this measure move for my chart pattern guys here. You take this measure move, you put it on top of the top in between the two bottoms here. It gives you a target to the upside, saying that we could see $87,000 Bitcoin. That blue number right there could be an upside target for Bitcoin for the bulls, the Bitcoin bulls. You know, makes sense. You know, 87K was an area that we were trading at sideways back here in November and December of last year. We were at around the 87K area. Also, I think here in January, yeah, we were above 87K. But you know, because we did so much sideways trading action at 87K, it makes a lot of sense for us to actually come up to 87K, get rejected there. This is just an idea. I'm not saying this is gonna happen this week, this month, or even this year. But if this was to happen, and this was a double bottom at 65K, it's saying that you could get up to 87K. Now, here's something else you might want to look at for my Bitcoin guys there. The VRVP indicator, if I turn that on, it should show that there is some high volume nodes around 87K, and yeah, there is. I mean, look at this. There's a high volume node here at $87,000. So $87,000 makes sense. It's where the double bottom, you know, target would be at 87K, and it's also where the volume profile indicator, the VRVP indicator, visual range volume profile indicator, that is also showing that 87K is where we would try to take profit on our longs and not get too greedy and try to, you know, make some money by buying Bitcoin right now and selling it at 87K. You know, it could be a $20,000 or 20,000 point move to the upside. And if Bitcoin does that, I would, you know, take profit. Now, on this chart, I did draw a trend line here. I'm not sure how well this works, but measuring from here, you know, the bottoms here, the trend that Bitcoin was in, and you can see that this trend line is actually, you know, kind of hitting where that double bottom target would be. So maybe you got confluence here off of the long-term trend on Bitcoin. If Bitcoin goes up to 87K, I would take profit on the longs, de-risk a little bit, sell some spot Bitcoin at 87K. Lorraine says, can you lip read? No. Were you trying to lip read? Were you trying to read my lips? I had to go off stream there for a second. So my TikTok guys, I might have lost you guys when I did that phone call. But on YouTube, my YouTube guys were able to see me, but I had the volume, I had the microphone muted. Alright, so 87K is an idea here for Bitcoin. We did have a guy here saying something about the weekly chart, so let's look at the weekly chart. I don't know, he says he was seeing something positive here for Bitcoin. Let's look at the momentum indicators here, see if there's anything positive that I can go off of here on Bitcoin. On the MEXC, the indicator here on the weekly time frame, we are seeing selling pressure is dying down, so that's the start of something good here. However, we saw selling pressure die down in January for Bitcoin, only for the selling pressure to start increasing in February. Okay, so and that just created, you know, lower prices for Bitcoin, and now we're seeing selling pressure die down again. If we get a repeat of what happened here in January going into February, we can see selling pressure start increasing again one more time, and that would frustrate the crap out of the longs, because that would mean we're going to see lower prices here for Bitcoin. So there's a possibility that, you know, selling pressure could start increasing again. There's no guarantee that we're going to see buying pressure start showing up. All right, but if we do see buying pressure start showing up on the weekly time frame, then yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure we'll see 87K, maybe even 90K or even 100K for Bitcoin if we can get buying pressure to show up. But the last time you had buying pressure was like the summer of last year, right? May, June, July. when Bitcoin, I think, was actually making new all-time highs at like 109, 110K. We might even go on higher than that, I believe. I can't remember. Like, I think we hit like 112K in like summer, or in like May or something. I have to look at the chart, right? I should probably just look at the chart, right? Instead of just guessing. But when we had buying pressure show up here on Bitcoin, you know, last summer we saw, you know, Bitcoin get up to 123K in August, and then here in July 122K, and then, you know, in May of last year we got up to like 112K. Okay, and that was when buying pressure was actually here in the weekly time frame. So maybe that's what the bulls are trying to look for and hope for, is that maybe we are bottoming out here on Bitcoin, and maybe we could see buying pressure show up on the MACD indicator on the weekly time frame, and maybe we could see 100K Bitcoin again. All right, but you know, I have to be a little bit cautious here that, you know, we did see selling pressure die down only for it to increase again. And if we see selling pressure die down right now and then start increasing again, then yeah, Bitcoin is not going to go to 100K. We're probably going to see maybe 50K or lower. I'm trying to zoom out here to try to see what previous price action here on this chart, where, you know, we saw selling pressure, you know, die down only for it to start increasing again. Looks like back here in 2022, right? In 2022, which we knew was a bear market year for Bitcoin, because that was when Bitcoin was at 69K, dropping down to like 15K, 16K. We saw selling pressure drop in January and February of 2022, and then we saw buying pressure show up. And I'm pretty sure back then, in March of 2022, people were getting excited for Bitcoin, thinking that Bitcoin could go up to higher prices. And, you know, it had the permission to do it. But then Bitcoin changed its mind and decided to drop down again on the weekly time frame on the MACD indicator here. You saw selling pressure start increasing again for Bitcoin going into like July of 2022. So, you know, how did that affect the price of Bitcoin at the time? You know, with selling pressure dying down in February of 2022, you got a little bit of a climb up here on Bitcoin. I'm just giving you guys some previous chart price action history here, where we saw, you know, selling pressure die down, kind of like we're seeing right now on Bitcoin. And then we got buying pressure, but it wasn't good enough. It was not good enough to go to higher prices. You went temporarily up to higher prices, where Bitcoin got to like 48K in March of 2022, only for then, you know, look at this. Oh my God, this was brutal at the time. You had this is weeks, right? Every candle is representing a week of red, okay? You had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks in the red on Bitcoin. Ouch. Okay. You even had Bitcoin in the red when there was buying pressure showing up here in March. Okay. So, you know, there is some optimism right now because we're seeing, you know, selling pressure dying down, which could possibly turn into buying pressure. But if it turns into buying pressure, there's a possibility that we could still be dropping down in price, even with buying pressure, you know, in the green. Remember, this is a momentum indicator, so all this is showing is just momentum has shown that Bitcoin has increased in price from like 60K in the beginning of February to, like, you know, we did see 76K a week ago, 2 weeks ago, and now we're at 67K. So yeah, I mean, this has shown that, you know, we did get a rise up in price. Yeah, we've seen that already. But, you know, can we just be bullish and say that Bitcoin is going to go up to like 80 or 90K here? I don't know. It's tough to say. It's tough to say. Just using the weekly time frame here, it's an idea, but I don't know if it's actually going to happen or not. Okay, we could just see, you know, buying pressure, but it might be weak, and then we just drop down to low prices here. We could see selling pressure just start increasing again, and then drop down to low prices here. The buying pressure has to be strong and vigorous for us to go from like where we are right now to like 90K. Okay, we need to see, and I don't know if we're gonna get that strong buying pressure. Not with the way things are going on around the world, with the war getting worse in the Middle East. As far as I see, you know, they're sending troops, possible invasion coming up. I don't know if that's gonna allow Bitcoin to go up to like 90K or 100K, in my opinion. All right, let's see. All right, things got a little bit quiet. I did lose some of my TikTok audience because of that phone call, but hey, I had to take it. The guy was calling me twice. and it would have been interrupting the live stream anyways. Okay, but you know, we're back to the normal course of business here. We did look at Bitcoin on the weekly chart, which, you know, I get the idea as to, like, why you could be a little bit optimistic on Bitcoin, but we need to see more money going into Bitcoin for higher prices to show up here, and I just don't know. I'm cautiously optimistic on Bitcoin, okay, but honestly, I still think I'm a 4-year cycle guy, and I just seen, you know, what Bitcoin has done over the last 10 years. I bought my first Bitcoin at like I bought my first Bitcoin at like $3,000, and I bought an entire Bitcoin back in 2017. And I've been in Bitcoin since 2017. And I just seen, you know, the bull market in 2017. I seen the bear market in 2018. I seen the bull market in 2021. And then I saw the bear market in 2022. And I think we've seen the bull market in 2024 and 2025. And I think right now we're seeing the bear market in 2026. And usually these bear markets, they last about a year. And I think we're only halfway through the bear market right now. And I still think it's possible for Bitcoin to go down to lower prices. Looking at my other Bitcoin chart here, you know, I think we could see $52,000 Bitcoin. And I think we could see $43,000 Bitcoin later on this year. Only because, you know, 52K was where we traded at back in February 2024 for a little bit, just a little bit, you know, for like a month. And then we traded at $43,000 for like more than a month. We traded there for like a couple of months there. And I think this is where Bitcoin could get some support if we do drop down to low prices. And I'm more interested in buying Bitcoin at $43,000 than I am at 67K. So I think, you know, if the bear market is going to play out the way it normally does, which it lasts about a year, I think we could be hitting down to 52K and then 43K later on this year. And, you know, the bear markets, they usually last about a year in Bitcoin. We're halfway through it. We started, you know, at the all-time high at 126K back in October of this year. I think a better time to try to buy Bitcoin would be October of this year, right? When the kids start going back to school, you know, that should be a time to try to enter Bitcoin, in my opinion here. You know, in September, October of this year might be the bear market lows for Bitcoin. Just from what I've seen in the past, you know, the past couple of bear markets that I've seen, I think that's a possibility, and that makes sense. You know, maybe what ends up happening later on this year is, you know, obviously I think things are going to get worse in the Middle East from what I'm seeing, and you know, we could have a rough summer because of that. Oil prices could be at $150 a barrel, which we're gonna look at oil after this. But you know, I think after, you know, the mess in the Middle East, maybe Democrats start winning elections here in the United States, and you know, maybe the Republicans lose the House and the Senate. I'm not trying to get too political here, but I'm just saying as an idea here, it could be a possibility because of what's going on in the Middle East, and maybe they put an end to the war. Or they, you know, I think I can see Donald Trump is anxious to try and end the war here, but he's trying to stay strong at the same time and say that, you know, he'll punish Iran. But I think there might be some war exhaustion. I think both sides will be exhausted and looking to come to the negotiation table later on this year, and then that will probably be when the price of Bitcoin jumps up, is the end of the war in the Middle East. That could happen, you know, this week, this month, maybe later on this year, most likely. But anyways, let's go into the 1 hour time frame. I want to look at the day trading time frame one more time here for Bitcoin. And I'm going to throw on the moving averages here real quick, because I think this is where we could see Bitcoin go next in the next few hours, or, you know, next few days. We could see Bitcoin climb up to this 200 moving average, this red line here in the 1 hour time frame, and get rejected at 68,500. That's where I'd be taking profit on any of my day trading longs. I'm not long in Bitcoin right now, but if I was, I would, you know, take some more profit at that 200 moving average right now. I'm actually long in oil right now. I'm a little bit more convinced that oil is going to go to higher prices, long in oil, and I feel like, you know, it's easy enough for me to trade oil. So that's what I'm trading right now, is oil. And we are going to look at oil after this. But yeah, Bitcoin, I gave you upside target 68,500 for my day traders out there. Downside, we could revisit 65K all over again like we did. We did that yesterday, right? Yeah, we went down to 65K. So There's also a possibility that there's a 50 moving average at 67K, so maybe 67K. We could try to consolidate there and maybe get a bounce up at 67K, and then maybe we actually head up to higher prices to like 68K. Did we go to 68K? Oh, yeah, actually we did. We went up to like 68,100 on Coinbase around 9 a.m. Eastern time here. But then we sold off, the last few hours here. Maybe, Bitcoin makes a higher low and then goes up to higher prices here. I think 68,500 is my next target for Bitcoin if you want to try to play the bounce off the moving averages here in the 1 hour time frame. I think 68,500 is your next day trading target for my day traders out there. We got Jay in the chat. Jay's in the chat asking about RZLV. Thank you for the request there, Jay. I'm going to look at oil after this, and then we'll look at your request there. RZLV. I got you there, Jay. Thank you for coming in. Don't forget to smash that like button if you haven't done so already. Asif Marani on TikTok says, sniper gold entries, fast profits, daily. I don't know. Are you making like an advertisement here on my TikTok channel? Are you trying to advertise? Because you have to run that by me if that's what you're trying to do. I might have to mute you if that's the case. 99% accurate gold stick or whatever. Yeah, you are. It sounds like you are trying to advertise here. Brady says, what's the website I'm using? I'm actually using, to look at the charts here, I'm using tradingview.com. You see that right there? www.tradingview.com. You can look at the charts here for free on TradingView, but if you want to get all the indicators that I'm using and using multiple indicators, you're probably going to have to sign up for a subscription plan for TradingView. And you could get a discount on your TradingView subscription if you go to the Meet Damien TikTok channel right here, because that's why I see you. You're on TikTok right now. Oh no, I gotta do this little puzzle thing here. Oh wait, oh come on. All right, let me just do this stupid thing real quick here. But here on the Meet Damien TikTok, right? In my bio, there's a Linktree link. Okay, you click on that Linktree link. It takes you over here to the Meet Damien Linktree, and if you scroll down, you'll see a link here to join TradingView and get $15 off your subscription. Okay, I think they'll give you, if you do a yearly subscription and you use my link there, you can get $15 taken off of your subscription plan with TradingView. So yeah, there you go. That's www.tradingview to answer your question there. We are now going to look at the price of oil. Okay, I think price of oil is near the highs for the day. Yeah, wow, we actually hit $105. I think we did that while I was talking in the live stream here. We hit $105 at 12 o'clock Eastern time here. So not too long ago, okay, about an hour ago. And right now, price of oil, West Texas Intermediate Oil, and that's the WTI right there, currently trading at $104.62. Where could we go next here on oil? All right, just to give you an idea here, I have drawn a Fibonacci from $119 down to, I think I took this all the way down to $62 here, because we did see oil trading at $62 before the war started. Okay, that's where I drew the Fibonacci from the low to the high here at $119. Right after the war started, we saw $119 a barrel oil here. Okay, and if oil is going to continue being bullish, we do have a target to the upside on the Fibonacci at the 786 retracement at $107. So we're kind of like right next to that. Might be worth taking profit on oil at $107 here as an idea. Okay, who knows? Maybe Donald Trump says something positive. He's always tweeting about the war in the Middle East, and I know he follows the markets here. So maybe if oil starts to creep up higher, Donald Trump says something like, "Oh, we're talking to Iran, and negotiations are going well, and we're gonna do a pause on the fighting. We're not gonna actually attack them until they give us something good here with the negotiations." And then if that happens, then maybe oil tops out at $107. It comes down to the 618 golden pocket at $97. We might see oil drop down like below $100 a barrel here. Okay, on the 1 hour time frame, we also got the 200 moving average sitting at $96. So I think $96, $97 is where we could come down to here on oil And then maybe, you know, the Donald Trump, if things aren't going good with the negotiations, if they resume fighting again, then we climb back up to 107 one more time here, and maybe we climb up to this $119 target that we did back here in March, earlier in March here, okay? But if we see things get really bad, if they actually start invading Iran and trying to do something with, you know, taking oil away from Iran here, then I think we could hit that 1272 target here above you at $134.80 here is where we could go next year if things get worse in the Middle East here. And then, you know, of course, even worse than that, if things do get worse, we could see maybe $154 barrel in oil. That's your 1618 target. Maybe that happens, you know, it could happen later on in April. Maybe later on in the summer, we see $150 barrel oil. And if things get really bad and they start, you know, if Iran is oil infrastructure is getting destroyed by the United States, and then if Iran decides to retaliate by destroying oil facilities, not in America, but like over in like Saudi Arabia and other countries that are their neighbors, if they just decide to lash out and destroy oil infrastructure because their oil infrastructure is getting destroyed, then you might see this 2618 target at $211 a barrel oil. Okay, so I'm still going to keep this Fibonacci here just in case we actually hit those targets. We already have the guidance to look for here. But yeah, those are your targets to the upside, and then targets to the downside. I think we could see $97 initially from where we are right now. There are more targets to the downside, but we haven't had anybody request this. This was something that I wanted to take a look at. We can always look at it again, especially in the later live streams, you know, later on this week. But yeah. Target to the upside, we're close to this $107 barrel oil, which is your 786 retracement, and I think something could happen where we get rejected off of there, okay? Or maybe we just continue to go sideways at 107 before we launch up to 119. All right, let's look at the RZLV for my buddy Jay, and then we just got a request in. Someone wants to look at Turbo. And in the bagman said, if oil pumps, then Bitcoin will dump. Yeah, that seems to be what's been going on for the month of March here. Is oil goes up, Bitcoin goes down. And vice versa. If oil goes down, Bitcoin usually goes up. So let me go ahead and look at the requests here. We got Turbo as another request here. Okay, anything else? I think that's it for now. We'll take a look at Turbo. Thank you for the request there. Alright, moving on from the price of oil, we are going to look at RZLV. I'm assuming that's a stock because I know Jay likes to look at stocks here. So let's see, RZLV, it is a stock. Looks like it's called Resolve. And that is trading on the NASDAQ exchange here. So this is a stock. And yep, Jay confirmed to me that it is a stock that we're looking at here. Let me go into the daily time frame here, get the bigger picture view. We are trading at $2.57. Let me just reset the chart here. And we're up 7% today. It looks like we were up higher today. We did see like $2.89 here. Got rejected. Look at this. Right off the moving averages, right? You got to add those moving averages to the chart, especially in the stock market world. The stock market guys, they love using the moving averages on the daily time frame here as guidance for their take profit targets. And the guys on Wall Street decided to sell this thing when we got up to that green line. 287 was where that 50-day moving average was at. So we already got rejected off of that. That happened today. Maybe we can make a higher low and come right back up to it again. If we come back up to it again, I would expect another rejection at 287 until we can push past 287. If we can push past that 50-day moving average, there is a 200-day moving average sitting at 346. That's going to be your next target to the upside. And I see Lorene is back in TikTok giving me some gifts. Thank you for sending the gifts there, Lorene. You are awesome. You are the best. I appreciate that. I can see we also got 6,400 likes here on TikTok. That's awesome, too. Thank you guys for smashing that like button. I'm pretty sure Lorene did half of those likes. Because she's just that amazing. She's one of my best fans. She's also a moderator here on TikTok, so you guys got to be careful what you say and do here, because Lorene could put you in timeout if you guys act up here on TikTok. So she is one of the moderators here. Thank you all, Lorene. I appreciate that. Everything that you do here. All right. So yeah, 200-day moving average sitting at 346. That's your next target to the upside if we get past 287. And then of course, we'll see how we handle ourselves at the 100-day moving average. That's your blue line here, sitting at 369. So there are targets to look for on the upside here. I think it could be as simple as using the moving averages here. Okay, but let's see if I zoom out here and I turn on the VRVP indicator, what happens when I turn that on. And you got the VRVP indicator, your visual range volume profile indicator. It shows that there is a blue line here. This blue line is your point of control. This is the majority of the people buying and selling Resolve, RZLV, and they did it at 274, which is right next to, I believe, that 50-day moving average, okay? So, that's another area where you could try to take some profit if you haven't done so already. It's 274 is what I'm looking at for Resolve. And now if we get past that, there's some more high volume here at $3. That's kind of like a psychological target too. People are probably going to just sell when it gets back up to $3. And then once you get past $3, the volume starts to drop off. And then you got a little bit of high volume here right at that blue line, that 100-day moving average sitting at 369. So I think 369 should be another target to the upside if you haven't taken profit on Resolve yet. And then even further up, there is another target above. Might be worth paying attention, writing down in your notes here. You got a value area high sitting at 423. That's this white line here. Could act as resistance in the future here. Might want to write down 420. Right? I just said it. Not just smoke it, but write it down. 420 could be your target to the upside based off of the value area high using data from the VRVP indicator going all the way back to like June of last year. Okay, $4.20. That's your target, your ultimate long-term target, swing trade target. Maybe later on this year you might be able to sell Resolve at 420. All right, moving on from RZLV, we're gonna now take a look at Turbo, which I believe is a meme coin in cryptocurrency world. So I gotta type in Turbo USD. Okay, and that you can find here on Coinbase. Yeah, let's look at it on Coinbase. Sure, why not? Let's see. Turbo, looking like just like all the other meme coins and altcoins the past year now, going down and to the right. How are you supposed to make money long-term investing in this if this thing just continues going down and to the right? You really can't. If you're in this for the long term, maybe this will bottom out at some point, but we just don't know for sure. I'll try to look at the charts to see if that's going to happen, but just looking at the big picture view here, Turbo has seen better days here back in July of last year, okay, where this thing was trading as high as like 0.0069. Yeah, of course, right? Literally said 420 and 69 in the same live stream here. Wow, okay. So yeah, Turbo seen better days here in July, and that was it. All right, I think Turbo had its all-time high right before Bitcoin had its all-time high. Looks like Turbo started its bear market, you know, a few months before Bitcoin started the bear market, which is interesting because usually with meme coins and altcoins, they usually do well after Bitcoin hits its all-time high for the you know, for the bull run. So this is just, I think that threw off a lot of people last year. Is I think altcoins, they all peaked out and they topped out before Bitcoin topped out and peaked out, right? I mean, Bitcoin did kind of go up to higher prices in January of 2025 when Donald Trump, you know, yeah, look at this, yeah, 2025. This thing was definitely higher at higher prices here. I think after Donald Trump got inaugurated, people were like, all right, now what's next? And then what's next was supposed to be the, what was it? We were supposed to get crypto strategic reserve or Bitcoin strategic reserve, and that didn't happen. Okay. And I think, you know, the wind and the momentum got sucked out of the sails for altcoins. And you saw that happening all throughout last year, where they just started bleeding off and bleeding down right after Donald Trump got inaugurated. Okay. But anyways, without getting too political here, I'm just giving you guys the history on Turbo. In my opinion, when you lose the 200-day moving average, which we're looking at the 200-day moving average, this red line here, that's the beginning of the bear market for that asset, or that's when you really need to become bearish here. And we actually became bearish here on Turbo in September of last year. We came up, we back tested the 200 moving average, or came close to back testing it in October, and that was it. That was all you need to know. Like, you need to get the hell out of Turbo when you see that happen, okay? Because then you got the nasty red candle here on October 10th, and then just kept going down and to the right and down to the right, and you tried to get back up to the 50-day moving average, this green line here, in November. Got rejected, came down, came back up in January, got rejected off that 50-day moving average, came down. So just remember that 50-day moving average is a problem as of now, until it's no longer a problem. And I just think, with the 50-day moving average currently at 0.0013 pennies on Turbo, that's going to be where you should take profit. If you're long in Turbo, you should try to take profit at the 50-day moving average, because, like, look what happened. Like, you came up to it before and you lost it. You came up to it here, almost came up to it and then lost it, okay? So, what do you think's going to happen? It's probably going to get rejected off the 50-day moving average. And if it doesn't, then maybe it goes sideways at best. I highly doubt we're just going to punch above the 50-day moving average, pretend like this doesn't exist here, and just go right to the 100 or the 200, okay? But if it does, I mean, it could, right? If something positive happens here for Turbo, you could see it spike up, but I highly doubt it. And yeah, if you go up to the 50-day moving average, I mean, right now that's like I believe a 30% move up in price. Don't get too greedy, guys, here, but you would be up 33% on Turbo if we get up to that 50-day moving average. And if we go up to the 100-day moving average, you'll be up 53%. All right, take some more profit, and then if you get up to that 200-day moving average, you'll be up almost doubling your money, up 95%, and I would strongly consider hitting that sell button, and clicking that sell button to take some profit. Not financial advice, but if I was in Turbo and I was up 95%, I would try to sell something. You don't have to sell all of it. Not financial advice, remember. But selling something is great, because if you sell it there after almost doubling your money and you come right back down to where you started, well, you can buy back in again and do it all over again, right? Or maybe we don't go all the way back down to where we started. Maybe we come down to this 100-day moving average, right? We do something like this. If I can draw it out real quick, where we we jump up, we get past the 100-day moving average, we get rejected off the 200, come down to the 100-day moving average, make a higher low, and then start climbing back up to that 200-day moving average, and then go higher. Okay. You could sell at the 200-day moving average and then buy back in again at the 100-day moving average by what could be possibly a higher low here, and still, increase your spot bags, right? In Turbo, you could actually increase the amount of Turbo, because you'll be selling high and buying low again. Thank you, Jay, for reminding people to smash that like button if you guys haven't done so already. Appreciate that. Let's see. You're asking, can Turbo go back up to 0.005? 0.005. Oh, that's pretty far up there. Let's see. 0.005. That's like right up here. When's the last time you've been at 0.005? That's like July of last year. Please don't tell me maybe you did, but please don't tell me you bought here and you held it all the way down to here, because I know there are some people that did that, but that I kind of feel bad if that's the case. I myself, if you've been watching my live streams and asking me for not financial advice, but asking for my opinion here as to like when to get out of Turbo, I probably would have looked at this chart and I would have said, hey, you lost the 200 moving average, be careful here. It probably could, drop further. And it actually kind of gave a little bit of a fake out where it came up and went above the moving averages here temporarily in September. But then once you lost that 200-day moving average and you closed below it, I would have said, hey, it's probably time to get out of Turbo. It's not looking good here. And then you got your confirmation here that, you climbed back up to the 200 moving average. You didn't really actually get up to the 200 moving average, and then you started losing it again. This would have been confirmation to get the hell out of Turbo. I would have told you to get the hell out of Turbo in October here, okay? From looking at the moving averages and what it's doing, making lower highs here, lower high, and then another lower high. Like, how many times do you need to be warned? This is your first warning, your second warning, your third warning. It's time to get out. especially when you back tested the 200 moving average, and you couldn't even get up to it. You didn't even get up to the 200 moving average, and you still lost it. I would have told you to get out here. I mean, I don't want to sound like a Monday morning quarterback and just looking at things from past, but I just know, like, this is bad if you see this on the chart. It doesn't matter if this was Turbo or Bitcoin or oil or Apple or Nvidia. It doesn't matter what asset it is. When you do something like this, when you back test that 200 moving average and then you start dropping down again, that was like a big warning to get the hell out of Turbo. Okay, and yeah, I mean, look at that. You lost it. You lost it. You kept going down to right, down to right, down to the right. Now, are we gonna bottom out here on Turbo? Let's see if there's any hope here I can give you. Okay. Let's see. I'm gonna look at the indicators below here. I'm looking for the RSI here to see if there's any bullish divergence here. And I think there might be. I see what could be the beginnings of creating higher lows here on the RSI. So you can see that the RSI is, you know, we got as low here in February, as low as like 23 on the RSI. And then here in March, we got as low as like 35. And then right now, the RSI is at 46. If we continue doing this, you know, this is the beginning of bullish divergence, because, you know, what is bullish divergence? Well, bullish divergence, if you see on the chart, it looks like this. You're making lower lows on the price, which you already seen. Let me try to just draw this out real quick here. But you are making, you know, obviously lower lows, going down to lower prices here. However, you are making higher lows here in the RSI. This is showing me that buyers are stepping up to the plate. They're taking a swing at buying Turbo at these low prices. This is showing me that this is the beginning of trying to bottom out here on Turbo. So maybe Turbo is bottoming out right now, okay? I don't want to give you too much hope yet, because we got to do more than just try to bottom out. We actually got to go up to higher prices to get people excited again to buy Turbo, right? But this is the beginning of bottoming out. Now, you know, this could be the beginning of bottom out, but we could drop down to lower prices, especially if Bitcoin drops below 60K. You're going to see Turbo go down to low prices, yeah. Well, maybe I shouldn't say you're gonna. You're more likely to see Turbo go down to low prices. Let's see what's going on here in the MACD indicator here for Turbo. Selling pressure starting to come in here, so this is not good to see. You got a MACD crosser to the downside. I don't know if I like that for Turbo here. Okay, so you know, we might still go down to low prices here. And if we go down to low prices on Turbo, it might not be game over. I mean, it's going to feel like it's game over, but we could still make a lower low, right? Let me just extend this out. But we could still make lower lows here on the price. Go down to like maybe 0.0005. Drop down 50%, which is going to hurt. But it might be temporary. And still make a higher low on the RSI, showing that there's still more bullish divergence showing up, showing that buyers are probably gonna, you know, eventually push this thing up to higher prices if we do drop down. So maybe we do get one more, oh my god, the world's coming to an end, and then do a bounce off of that and go up to higher prices and start an uptrend and start the bull run for the next cycle here for Turbo. Okay, but anyways, that's my opinion there on Turbo. I think I did enough analysis there. Let's see. Thank you, Alicia, for following me here on TikTok, and thank you, Ian, for following me here on TikTok as well. Alrighty. Let's see. Lorraine pinned a comment here. What happened? Can I click on that? Lorraine, if you're still in the chat here, can you let me know what it was that you were trying to pin here? Alright, yeah, we did talk about Turbo just now. Was that why you guys are trying to pin it? Okay. Thank you, Donnie, for following me here on TikTok. Appreciate that. You're awesome for that. Let's see, your entry was at 33 cents. Your entry was at 33 cents or 0.003. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Are we still talking about Turbo here? Because I don't know if Turbo actually got up to 33 cents, did it? Let's see. Here on Coinbase Exchange, we did see Turbo at 0.016 pennies. Or was that a penny and a half at one point? Okay, your entry was at 0.0033. Okay, yep. All right. So you're down. Sorry to hear that. You're probably gonna have to just wait. You know, if you're in it for the long term, you're gonna have to wait for Turbo to go up to higher prices, and that might might take some time, to be honest with you. I know you probably don't want to hear that, but as investors, we have to be patient. You're gonna have to wait for the next bull run. You're gonna have to wait for Bitcoin to get above 100K probably for Turbo to get back to where you bought it at 0.0033. You're probably gonna have to wait. That's part of being patient. All right. Okay, you're still dollar cost averaging into Turbo here. Okay, that's worth you know, if that's what you want to do with this meme coin. Just remember, it's a meme coin. There's not really much utility behind it. Me personally, I would be interested in buying Solana. That's just me personally. Because Solana does have utility. There are things being built on Solana, and I think Turbo is a Solana meme coin. So Solana has meme coins that are being built on its platform, and I'm interested in buying Solana because Solana does pay like a 4 or 5% staking rewards, so you get paid to wait. You can wait. You know, you can wait with Bitcoin. I mean, wait for Solana to go to higher prices and get paid while you're waiting. Okay. I don't think you can do that with Turbo. You're not going to get paid to wait for Turbo. So Turbo can just continue dropping or go sideways or even go up. And you're not going to get paid in the meantime. But with Solana, you would get paid. And same thing with Ethereum. Ethereum has staking as well. I think Cardano also has staking. And I would just be honest with you. I'd be looking for a coin like that you're able to stake and get rewards during this bear market, and just get paid during the bear market. You know, like a 4 or 5% yield. With Solana, I think it's 4 or 5%. It should be 4 or 5%. With Ethereum, I think it's like 2% is your stake and reward yield. So I think you get double the money with Solana, which is that's the reason why I would eyeball and take a shot on Solana. But I also think Solana could drop down to low prices, especially if Bitcoin drops down to like 50 or 40K, which we think could be possible later on this year. I think Solana could probably drop down to like, you know, half of what it is right now and go down to like 40 bucks. Yeah, let's look at Solana real quick here while I say that. We'll look at Solana on the daily time frame. And I have put targets here on Solana. There's one at 74 bucks here, which is why, you know, the reason why I did that is because Solana was trading sideways here back in December 2023 at that level. But then another target is like $57 Solana, which is where Solana was trading at back here in November of 2023. That could be an area of support for Solana, and I'd be more interested in buying Solana at like below 60 bucks and trying to stake whatever rewards I can get out of it for the next bull run. I don't know if we're done with the bear market yet here on cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin, and I would be putting money to work and dollar cost averaging into Solana at like 60 bucks, or maybe even lower than that. If we do go lower, I mean, how much lower could we possibly go? It looks like there's some sideways trading action here at 30 bucks. So, and there's also kind of like a candlewick high at 30 bucks. So maybe maybe you could just be patient enough to wait for Solana to go to $30, and I would be right there scooping it up. You know, let's go ahead and dig for some more Solana and putting it into our spot bags at $30. I think is a good area to try to buy some more Solana. So $83, okay, whatever. But I think we could see, you know, especially if Bitcoin's dropping down to like 40K, or even lower than that. I think we could get lucky enough to buy Solana at like, you know, $60 or even $30. Oh, let's see. You say, bro, people say buy the dip, but with what everyone is going broke buying the dips, yeah. That's the thing. The dips could keep on dipping on you. That's why I haven't really bought the dip yet. I've seen bear markets in Bitcoin and crypto. I've seen Bitcoin. It takes like a year since from the all-time high to the bear market low. It takes like a year for Bitcoin to do a bear market low. So if that's the case, you know, the all-time high was in October of last year. I think we can wait until October of this year. That's usually how long a bear market lasts in Bitcoin before we can, see if we can scoop up the lows. But you know what? I think other people are paying attention to that, and maybe it gets front run. Maybe, Bitcoin starts climbing in like September or August of this year. And everybody that's waiting for Bitcoin to go to the bear market low in October, maybe it gets front run and the bear market low ends up being in August or September of this year. So that's a possibility. All right, let's see. Armani says, is perpetual trading the move? Starting to learn charts from trading Solana. Awesome. And thank you for following me here on TikTok, Armani. I think we can trade, we can day trade, and even swing trade with a little bit of leverage. We can day trade these cryptocurrencies and try to make some money on the down, right? If we think Solana is going to go down to like $60, why not enter a short? Whatever leverage you need to use to try and stay in the trade here, but why not short Solana and then try to take profit on the short at like $60 here? I think perpetual trading is a way to make money. I'm not saying it's gonna be the only way to make money. You could also spot trade, Solana, where you're buying, Solana here at $80 and trying to sell it at, maybe this 50-day moving average at $104. If Solana goes up to $100 again, I would try to take profit on Solana. And if you're not able to day trade or use leverage, you can just spot trade it and just buy, Solana at $80. However many coins you want to buy, and then sell those coins at $100, and then see if we kind of drop down again to like $80 and just buy again at $80 or whatever. Maybe buy Solana at $90 if it's going to be a higher low. Okay. But yeah, I think perpetual trading is great for day traders that are trying to day trade crypto. Yeah. What do I think about Bitcoin for now going down? Is Bitcoin going down? 66,800. I think we looked at the live stream. It was at 67K earlier in the live stream. So yeah, and we did look at the 1 hour time frame. This is a good day trading time frame. We're looking at the price of Bitcoin now, and we're looking at the 1 hour here. And I was saying at the beginning of my live stream that Bitcoin could possibly go to this 200 moving average and get rejected at 68,500, but then I looked at the momentum indicator. I looked at the MACD indicator here, okay? And this is what we saw a couple hours ago. We saw buying pressure was dying down, and we didn't see this yet. We didn't see a red candle show up. But I was saying at the beginning of the live stream that, Bitcoin looks like it wants to go down to low prices here. You had the blue line curving down. It didn't cross over, but it looks like we got that crossover right when I started the live stream here. And then of course, yeah, that was your confirmation that it's time to get out of Bitcoin on your longs for Bitcoin for day traders here, and we could see Bitcoin go to low prices here, especially if it gets really nasty on the selling pressure. We could see something like we saw back here on Friday. That's when Bitcoin dropped down to 65K. We're not that far from 65K. We're only about like $1,800 away, but yeah, this is not good. Okay, I saw this and I was like, I'd be trying to take profit on the long on Bitcoin, and I wasn't in Bitcoin, but if I was in Bitcoin and I saw this, I was like, I would take profit on Bitcoin, seeing something like this on the 1 hour chart. And then I would also entertain the idea of shorting Bitcoin. And I think earlier on my live stream, we saw Bitcoin at like 67,300 or 400. Let me just go into the 5-minute time frame to check on that. Where was Bitcoin when I started? I started around like 12 p.m. is when I started. Yeah, Bitcoin was at like 67K, 67,500. And then during my live stream, it's been dropping, and then we lost this 200 moving average on the 5-minute time frame. And yeah, Bitcoin might climb up, get rejected again at the 21 EMA on the 5-minute time frame. So yeah, maybe we could climb up to 67K, which it looks like we're trying to do right now in the 5-minute. And then boom, we get rejected off that 21 EMA at 67K and just continue going down to lower prices here. You say many say that Bitcoin will go up, but you're down on your Bitcoin. Damn. Yeah, I still think we're in a bear market on Bitcoin, and I don't know if we're able to get out of a bear market on Bitcoin and crypto until the war ends in the Middle East. Because think about this for a second. You know, who's buying Bitcoin? There's a bunch of people buying Bitcoin, but like amongst me, you, and normal people, you know, normal investors, retail traders, if there's a war going on in the Middle East and people have to buy gasoline to get to work, get to school, pick up their kids from school, whatever, okay? It's getting more expensive to just to live, just to put oil in your in gasoline. Even if you don't have a car, it's still gonna cost you money to buy groceries because it costs, you know, gasoline and diesel is rising in price, and it costs money to get that food in the grocery store using a truck. So it's going to make everything more expensive. It's going to make inflation more expensive. And if inflation is expensive and people are still making the same money that they're making at their jobs and spending it on grocery and gasoline, they're not going to have the extra money to buy Bitcoin. And that's going to prevent Bitcoin from going to 100K, in my opinion. Yeah. So it's getting tough for everybody with higher oil prices and a war going. So I think the war in the Middle East has to end. We have to stop. We have to see United States and Israel stop blowing up oil facilities, and also see Iran stop blowing up oil facilities, and then, you know, try to recover from that, and then you'll see Bitcoin actually go up to higher prices. But because of what's going on in the Middle East, I think that's the nail in the coffin. I think that's going to be one of the reasons why Bitcoin drops down to, you know, 60K or even lower than that. Okay, and you know, people are just going to blame the Trump administration for starting the war, and they'll gonna blame that as the reason why oil went up and their stocks went down and crypto went down because of the war in the Middle East. Yeah. Thank you, Ben Bitcoin, for following me here on TikTok. Appreciate that. Thank you, AL, for following me here on TikTok. Yeah, it's going to be a little bit too much for people, especially if, I mean, we were looking at oil, and I've also heard, you know, on the financial news channels, they were talking about $150 barrel oil being a possibility here. And here on the charts, you can see that, you know, we drew a Fibonacci extension that showed that oil could get up to like $154. That's your 1618 Fibonacci extension to the upside. So if that happens, you know, have we seen oil at $150? Let me just zoom out to the weekly time frame here. We have seen back in like 2022, $126 a barrel oil in 2022, and I remember in 2022 we saw gasoline get up close to $5 here, where I'm from. Okay. $5 a gallon. And have we seen? I think we have seen $150 barrel oil like back in 2014, but I'm not getting the data here. But yeah, I think I take that back. I think we did see, yeah, we've seen $140 barrel oil. That was like the all-time high. Was 2008, and we had the war in Iraq going on around that time. So I don't remember what gasoline prices were then. And you have to remember, gasoline prices, they do go up anyways because of gasoline taxes going up. So, you know, maybe we do see $5 a gallon. I mean, we saw $5 gallons from what I remember back in 2022. So, you know, maybe $5 a gallon is going to happen again later on this year, because of what's going on in the Middle East. Yeah. Quick question: Where are you guys from, and how high is oil prices getting for you right now? Here in New England is where I'm at. I've seen like, you know, I've seen $4. Yeah, but I think the cheapest I seen was like $3.60. $3.60 is as cheap as you can get here in the Northeast in New England, and that's it. I remember it was $1 cheaper a month ago, before the war started. I remember filling up my gas tank for like $2.60 a gallon. All right. Let's see what's going on here. We got Edible Zombies in the YouTube chat here. Edible Zombie says Solana is the fastest and cheapest money mover on the block. Yeah, I'm gonna. I actually was in Solana during this last bull run. I bought Solana, not to brag, but I bought it, you know, right after FTX went bankrupt. I was like, all right, this is what I was looking for. One more shoe to drop. FTX went bankrupt, and I bought Solana at like $13 and $16 a coin, and then I bought more of it at like $20 a coin. And I think my last major purchase of Solana was at like $33 in October of 2023, and then Solana jumped up to like $100 like a few months after that. I caught that move, and then I saw Solana go up to like $200 a coin in March of 2024, and I actually sold some Solana. I didn't sell all of my Solana at $200. I sold because that was a 10x. I bought Solana at like $20 and it went to $200, and that was a 10x for me. Let's see if I can look at that real quick here. Looking back at Solana. So yeah, I was buying Solana when FTX went bankrupt in 2022, causing, you know, people to hate crypto and swear off crypto. And that's actually a good time to buy crypto. It was when people like, this sucks. They started making fun of crypto, you know, with FTX coin. They're like, oh, what's next? You know, Bitcoin, FTX coin, I'm gonna make my own coin and try to make and people were making fun of crypto, and I was like, yes, this is the best time to buy crypto. People hate it, they're making fun of it, that's the best time to buy crypto. And yeah, I made my last major purchase of Solana in October of 23 when, you know, we saw Solana at like 24 or 25 bucks. And I actually, you know, I saw this move coming here. When it got to like $30 is when I bought my last purchase of it, and then boom, we went up. You know, we went up, and going into like 2024, you know, we saw, you know, $125 Solana, and then like in March of 2024, we saw $200 Solana. I was like, I can't get greedy. I was trying to do a 10x, and I sold some Solana. I didn't sell all of it because I knew we were in a new bull run here on crypto, and I was hoping that Solana was going to go to $1,000 like everybody else. We saw in January 2025 Solana go up to like $295. I actually didn't sell at $295. I sold some at like $230 and $260. And then, you know, then we saw Solana drop down in April 2025 when Donald Trump was talking about tariffs. You know, that was not good. We saw Solana go down, and I didn't sell at $95. I knew we were gonna get. Well, I didn't know, but I had a feeling we were gonna bounce back, and we did. Donald Trump said, "Oh, we do a pause on tariffs," and the stock market started ripping, and crypto started ripping with it. And then Solana peaked out at like 250 around September 2025, and I did not sell at 250, but I was moving my stop loss, kind of like a trailing stop loss, and I had my stop loss at like 230. And then Solana dropped and hit my stop loss, and I was like, all right, yeah, I sell Solana at 230. Because if we weren't gonna go to like 290 or 300 on our way to $1,000 for Solana, then it probably just wasn't gonna happen. And that's sure enough, that's what happened. It just wasn't gonna happen for Solana. I felt like I did good with Solana. I sold most of my Solana at $200 or higher, so I did my 10x on that last bull run. I'm happy, and that's one of the reasons why I'm able to go to Costa Rica is because of my good moves that I made in Solana, right? And I'm gonna be in Costa Rica for like at least, you know, 3 months. You could probably say thank you to Solana. Thanks to Solana, I'm gonna be going to Costa Rica for 3 months. Yeah. Edible Zombie says you wish you were watching me then. Yeah, I actually I started my YouTube and TikTok channel in the end of 2023, in like December of 2023, and I wasn't sure if I was gonna make it a crypto channel. I started talking about real estate because I was also a landlord and stuff like that. I also did like some dating advice videos, and I wasn't sure. I just wanted to be on YouTube and talk to people, and also TikTok as well. And then I started focusing on what I like, which is crypto and looking at charts, and I turned it into a trading channel for the most part. But going into like later on this week and this month and next month, I'm going to be doing more travel content because I'm in Costa Rica, so you're going to be seeing some travel content as well. Try to show you guys what Costa Rica is like down there. And I'm still gonna be looking at the charts here. I'll be doing like the charts during the evening stream. I'm gonna try to do like 2 live streams. Like we're gonna look at, we're gonna talk about crypto and stocks and talk about the news of the day while I'm going for like a walk and a hike in Costa Rica. And I'll try to show you guys Costa Rica during the daytime, and then at nighttime we'll do another live stream, and I'll be on the charts on the computer here with you guys, looking at everything: gold, oil, stocks, crypto. We'll look at all of that during the nighttime streams. So yeah, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be worth watching. And yeah, I wish you were around earlier, but I'm glad you're here, Edible Zombies. Appreciate you coming in. Edible Zombie says gasoline is $3.60 in Wisconsin. Yes, as cheap as I can get it here in like Massachusetts is $3.60. All right. If I had to pick one, would I pick Solana or XRP for the long term? I'd probably pick Solana. It did well for me in the last bull run. I bought it near the lows of the bear market of the last bear market. Right after FTX went bankrupt is when I started scooping up Solana. And the reason why I chose Solana was because Solana does pay you to wait. You make 4 or 5% staking rewards on Solana. I think Solana is worth getting into again. I just don't know if now is a good time. Yeah, I think you might see lower prices for Solana, especially if Bitcoin is going to go to low prices. So I'm willing to wait for lower prices on Solana. But I think Solana and XRP are both going to do well going into the next bull run. I just think you can get them for cheaper prices, and I think Solana is better because you can get paid to wait 4 or 5%. It's like a dividend. You're getting paid just to hold on to it, and then you can sell it at a higher price in the next bull run. So I would choose Solana. If you maybe forced me to pick between Solana and XRP, and I had to pick one to go to the moon, I would pick Solana again, because Solana made a new all-time high. A little bit higher than it did in 2021. In 2021, Solana went to like 260, and in 2025, last year, it went to 295. So it made a new all-time. It showed us that it is capable of doing that, and it's a utility coin. Developers are using it. It's also faster and cheaper to use than Bitcoin and Ethereum. So I think Solana's going to be around for a while, and I think that's going to be the coin worth getting into during this bear market. And then the next bull run, that's when you sell it. When everybody else is trying to get into Solana again, that's when you try to sell it. Okay, but I think right now, we could buy Solana, but it could go a little bit lower, especially if Bitcoin's going to go lower. I'm just repeating myself now. So we'll take a look at Bitcoin real quick, and then that's going to be it for this live stream here, guys. I've been live for about 2 hours. Let's see, Bitcoin. We're looking at the daily chart here. Bitcoin, I think, if it's going to be bearish, if this is going to be a bear flag, we could revisit 63K. We might be on our way down there later on this week, and then we'll see if we can hold above 60K. If we're not able to hold above 60K, then 52K is the next number to look for, and that's because Bitcoin was trading sideways at 52K right here in February 2024. These are going to be the people who are going to hopefully prevent us from dropping like a rock on Bitcoin. So I think right now the people that bought in February 2024, they're in profit still. But if Bitcoin drops to 52K, they're only going to be break even. So they might not sell. They might not hit the sell button. They'll be disappointed that Bitcoin's back to where they bought it at in 2024. It's only when we start losing 52K that these people start panicking, and then we start seeing maybe Bitcoin most likely going down to 43K, and then we got even more support at 43K because we were trading there for more than just 1 month. We were trading there for like December of 2023, January, and then February 2024. You got more support for Bitcoin at 43K, and that's actually where I would try to buy Bitcoin myself, and also try to buy Solana, because we know Solana's probably going to drop down to lower prices if Bitcoin goes to lower prices. It'd be very highly unlikely and unusual for Solana to just stay where it's at while Bitcoin's dropping down to 43K. So I think if Bitcoin drops down to 43K, that's when we want to start our dollar cost averaging campaign into Solana, in my opinion. That's when I'm going to start my dollar cost average campaign. I still think we can go to low prices on Bitcoin. I haven't been buying crypto these last few weeks and months like for spot bags, only because I know like the bear market usually takes about a year, anyways. And I still haven't seen anything on the charts here that makes me feel like, yeah, we gotta go buy Bitcoin like right now. Okay, because I still think this is a possible bear flag that could possibly bring us down to lower prices on Bitcoin. And I'm just waiting for those lower prices, and then I'll entertain the idea of buying Bitcoin at 50K and definitely be more excited to buy Bitcoin at 43K than I am at like 66, 67K. And I don't see anything that is giving us an idea here that we're going to go to higher prices here on Bitcoin. I felt better about Bitcoin going to higher prices, obviously, a couple of weeks ago when we were at like 76K. But even then, I highlighted this is a possible sell zone at 76K because that's where we were at here in the beginning of February, going up to like 78K. This was a sell zone for Bitcoin, in my opinion here. And then if we were to make it past that sell zone, we did have the daily movement. The 50-day moving average on the daily time frame was at like 83K, 82K. So if we did go past this level, I was still looking to try to sell Bitcoin if we get to that 50-day moving average, and we just haven't, right? So if Bitcoin for some reason just gets really bullish and actually goes up to higher prices here, I still think the 50-day moving average, which is now at 77K, is going to be a problem for us to. Initially it's going to probably get rejected, and maybe at best it might go sideways when we go to 78K, and highly unlikely that we just punch right through the 50-day moving average like it don't exist and actually go up to like 84 or 87K. But 84 and 87K are another areas to be looking out for, because we've seen sideways trading action, we've seen candlewick lows at 84K, and we've seen sideways trading action at 87K. That's where I would try to for sure take profit on whatever spot bags I had on Bitcoin. If you do got spot bags, okay? I don't even know what you guys got, but that's where I would be trying to sell Bitcoin, because nothing goes up exponentially and straight up to the moon. Even though it might feel like that way, during the pump up, if Bitcoin does pump up to 80K, it's gonna feel like we're going to the moon. But that's actually a good time to like sell, especially when people are gonna get excited. They'll be like, oh yeah, we're at 87K, we're gonna go to 90K and then 100K. And when people get excited like that, that's a good time to sell. In my opinion, that's a good time to sell. Sell something. You don't have to sell everything. Not financial advice, but I would sell something. If Bitcoin gets up to like 84, 87K, I would sell something. And that's actually right now, that's kind of like where that 100-day moving average is at, like 83, 84K. I think those are targets. If you're not using my targets already, you can just use the moving averages. And I think 50-day and 100-day moving average, that green and blue line are good targets to the upside to take profit on your spot bags for Bitcoin. Okay. But yeah, let's see. Momentum. Let's look at momentum and money flow before I go, and then that's going to be it for today here, guys. On the daily time frame, we see that buying pressure has died down last week, towards the end of last week, and then selling pressure started coming in this weekend. And yeah, we're getting a nice pink candle saying that selling pressure could be dying down, but I don't know if I trust that. I think we could see selling pressure start increasing again, and yeah, we could see lower prices for Bitcoin. Okay, if the selling pressure candle was to go pink, and then we see another pink and another pink, then that means maybe we're getting a higher low here on Bitcoin, and we could see higher prices. But we'll take it one day at a time here. We'll take a look at it again tomorrow. But let's see, are we gonna see Bitcoin go to higher prices based on the DeluxeAlgo indicator here? The money flow. Money flow is showing that it is trying to increase here, but we could see it start to increase and then start decreasing again. Okay, kind of like you saw it start to increase, third week of March, and then it start to decrease again towards the end of March. And then here we did get a green buy dot on March 25th, but then you can see that we got a red sell dot. It's kind of blending into the chart. I don't know if you can see it, but there is a red sell dot that came in Thursday, March 26th, which was what? Yeah, last Thursday. So you don't have a green buy dot yet, but if you did get a green buy dot, then yeah, maybe we might see Bitcoin go up to higher prices, but that's a maybe. I don't know if I like what I'm seeing so far. It's iffy. I think, you know, we could see, you know, if Bitcoin was to climb up, get rejected off this 21 EMA, or get rejected off this rising channel that we thought Bitcoin was in, but then we lost it. I think we might back test the rising channel at like 69K or 70K and then drop down to lower prices. Only way I would be, you know, cautiously optimistic on Bitcoin is if we get past 72K like we saw here last Wednesday. But I don't know. I mean, with the way things are going on in the Middle East, they're talking about an invasion of Iran, possibly more troops going into the Middle East. I think we're gonna, if we do go up to higher prices, it's gonna be a lower high. We're not gonna go past 72K, and we could drop down probably to 63K or 60K. That's what I'm seeing on the charts as a possibility here. I don't want to have some bias, but I'm not saying anything that makes me like, oh yeah, we gotta go. And then I'm not hearing anything on the news like, oh yeah, we're gonna go to higher prices. Like, I'm not seeing that right now. Okay, so there you go. That's what I'm seeing here on hopefully I'm wrong, but I'm not. I mean, I'm not long in Bitcoin right now. Right now I'm just long in oil because the way I see things going on in the Middle East and what I'm hearing, things are possibly getting worse. I think oil is the trade to be in if you want to long something here. We're already at $104 a barrel oil, and we saw 105 earlier today. And I think oil, we might see some problems here at $107 for oil. That's your 786 retracement. We might go sideways there. Maybe Donald Trump says, oh, we're not going to invade Iran. We don't have to do that. He's always saying something on Twitter and kind of like manipulating the markets. But I think, you know, if he does say, oh, just kidding, we're not going to invade them, then, yeah, I think, you know, oil, when it hits $107, it might get rejected, come back down to $97. And then if they do invade, then it's like, all right, yeah, we are game on for higher prices. And, yeah, we could see the 1272 at $134, and how bad, depending on how long things stay bad, we could see $154 barrel oil, and that's your 1618 target to the upside. But guys, that's it for this live stream. I appreciate you guys coming in, smashing the like button, sharing, commenting, talking about your favorite cryptos here, and also looking at your favorite stocks. And yeah, let's plan on doing this tomorrow, same time, 12 to 2 p.m. Eastern time. And then Wednesday is going to be a travel day. I'm on my way to Costa Rica during that day, but I'll try to, you know, maybe go live that afternoon or that evening on Wednesday after I get settled in and figure out what's going on. Or maybe if I'm just bored at the airport, I might go live and talk to you guys about what's going on, especially if there's anything news-driven event going on around that time and we see something crazy on the charts. I might not be on the charts, but I'll be able to talk about what's going on, give you my opinion. But then, yeah, I think after Wednesday, once I get settled in, I think Thursday and Friday, I'll try to do a morning stream and then a night stream if I can. So we'll do a late morning, afternoon stream, and then we'll do like an evening stream where I'm on the charts looking at everything with you. But yeah, I plan on doing more. You'll see more of me, guys, here on TikTok and YouTube, and I'll be doing some more videos, just like regular standalone like YouTube shorts, and even some longer videos. With the free time that I got on when I'm down in Costa Rica, when I'm not enjoying the beautiful weather and the beautiful people and just, you know, living the Pura Vida life, you know. But yeah, let me just check up on the chat, make sure I answered your comments here, and then that's gonna be it. We'll listen to some music on the way out, and that's gonna be it for today, guys. I'll plan on seeing you guys tomorrow. We did see Matty Go show up in the chat. Good to see you. We are towards the end of the stream. And then Matty Go says, Bitcoin bottom, nowhere in. Let's see. You said, watch Doctor of Pump. The Moonboy channels will get you wrecked. Yeah, they would. And then what if the Clarity Act passes? I think if the Clarity Act passes, I mean, that might be an initial pump up on crypto, but then it might be short-lived. Because, you know, it is a sell the news thing, right? You know, we'll know for sure what's going on, and it might be treated like a sell the news. You buy the rumor, you sell the news. So we shall see. We shall see with that Clarity Act. But yeah, let's listen to some music on the way out, and then I'll plan on seeing you guys tomorrow, same time. Take care, guys, and thank you for coming on to the Meet Damien live stream. Take care, guys.